India is a very different market. It doesn't work on four-wheelers entirely. The most of the vehicles in India, I would say almost 60% of vehicles in India are two-wheelers and three-wheelers, which are not the global trend, which are not the international trend where we see four-wheelers being the most used vehicles. Let's go.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our latest episode of Pioneers Pathway podcast. I've introduced my co-host so many times, so I'm sure you know him very, very well. But I will do it once more, just for fun. I'm joined by my good friend Sharia. How are you doing, Sharia?
All good, Liam. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And we are joined by I was going to say a new guest, but he's not a new guest because we've had him on, it's been how long? About 9 months, since we had him on, previously. But I'm so, excited to welcome Preet, back to the podcast. How are you doing?
I'm doing very good, Liam. Thank you for having me. I'm also super excited to be talking with you guys again because
Yeah.
when we started doing this in this podcast, it was almost we started doing our MIM as well. So it's been around 9 months, and I think we've spent a lot of time in the MIM. We can yap a lot. We have more business knowledge to talk about now. So I think
Yeah.
that's going to be definitely
Yeah.
more useful now.
So just so that all the viewers know, I'm not too sure if some people are new or some people remember. But me and Preet are in the same degree cohort. So MIM is the Masters in Management over here at IE Business School. So I first met him in September. You came on in October onto the
Yeah.
podcast, and then obviously I've been in his class ever since. We take classes. He sits behind me, and we are very, very attentive students all the time, all the time.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Preet was our first guest ever, right?
Yes, that could be correct. I can't remember exactly.
He was definitely the first 5 guests that we had.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
definitely
things
on
have
there,
changed.
yeah.
But Preet, we're gonna be talking about sort of similar topics, right? Because you've done a lot more in the EV industry. You obviously times have changed. You've progressed in there, and you really wanted to come and talk a bit more about that. So yeah, let us know what's your work at the moment. What's your thoughts on the industry?
My thoughts. Let's go back a little bit. So in these last 9 months, I have done various projects, all surrounding EVs, and I think one of the very much used words in the business world is also EV in the last year because a lot of investments have been done in EV sectors and just all the new technology and innovation. A lot of them are coming up in the EV sector as well. So I feel this is going forward. EV is going to be a very good, very big differentiation in the market, in the technology market. So after doing a bit of projects, after doing more research on this field, I'm quite confident that I can give more insights on this specific field. And I did my automotive engineering as well, so I can link the business, the automotive, and all of these, and give you a more comprehensive conclusions and ideas on and thoughts of what I think the future is going to be like.
So in terms of the current landscape, obviously things are changing so rapidly. What is the current landscape in the EV industry globally, right? Who are the big players? Who do you think are the big competitors? And the threats to the current players? And what do you think the landscape's going to be like in the next 5 years?
Just to follow up on that, so Preet, I think you mentioned in our first episode that you did a internship in the EV space. So, also, if you could sort of elaborate on what the changes you see.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. We can talk about that. First, I'm going to start with the global drivers that are shaping the EV industry right now, and then we can come to what's happening in India and what's the landscape like in India, and more focused on the Indian ecosystem. So, going forward, the first thing I would like to say is government is adopting to EVs because there's a climate urgency in place. Everyone's pushing for zero emission vehicles to curb global warming, and for the first time in the history, we are seeing technology making a massive impact when it comes to changing the climate change. And also, energy security is one of the bigger region as well, where countries are accelerating EV adoption to reduce reliance on imported oil, which is expensive. To give you a comparison, if you make energy out of which it basically it was coal production through which the energy used to be produced. Now it is greener, more efficient, such as solar energy and hydrogen based energy produced, which come under the green energy. Energy basically means creating energy from sustainable resources, which is solar, hydrogen, could be anything. So I think because of these two very big reasons, EV is getting adopted at a very wider and faster rate globally. In India as well, as you know, India is a place where we have sun for almost around 6 months. So we have abundant solar energy resources in India. Government is incentivizing that. Government is also incentivizing EV adoption because those they are much cleaner. We know how it's going on in Delhi. It's so much polluted now, and for those reasons, we need EV to be the electric vehicles to work there and reduce the emissions. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm skipping a lot of stuff, but if you guys ever feel like I'm
So
missing
I
some
wanted to
links,
just
please
I
let me know.
wanted to just to query one of those ones in terms of India, right? Because India is investing in renewable energy, but it's still got significant reliance on coal and gas and oil, right? Do you think the transition is going at a rapid scale, or do you think it's still too slow?
I think for now it's especially in the EV sector, the adoption to cleaner fuels is very much rapid. I can't tell you about other energy resources, other energy fields where there's a massive requirement of energy, but in the EV business, in the EV, in the sorry, not in the EV as well, but in the automotive business, the cleaner energy adoption is at the most massive rate right now that we have ever seen. So, and which is why we have seen a lot of investors trying to actively invest in this field, because of the green energy, because of adoption of energy, because of government incentivizing people to use EVs. We are seeing a very massive adoption of this technology, not just in the gas, but also in the cleaner energy sector as well. Yeah.
And then going forward, just in terms of the brand makeup, obviously everyone knows about the likes of Tesla,
Mhm.
the other big EV brands. What's your take on the scene at the moment? Do you think Tesla still has market dominance, or do you think other brands like BYD are coming through and going to take over?
Uh, Obviously, Tesla is a key differentiator when it comes to technology front and just design front. They're making the most well-designed vehicles, most optimized for US markets. But I feel Tesla is doing what does best. It's making very well to four-wheeler vehicles. It's making the best four-wheeler vehicles. BYD is more or less focusing on the research side of things, trying to make the most efficient batteries, get the most rapid charging there, and make sure the battery lasts longer. But I feel when it comes to India, India is a very different market. It doesn't work on four-wheelers entirely. The most of the vehicles in India, I would say almost 60% of vehicles in India are two-wheelers and three-wheelers, which are not the global trend, which are not the international trend where we see four-wheelers being the most used
So,
vehicles.
so,
But
so
India is
what,
very
what's the
different.
brands? The brands for those are they Indian brands for the EV or the electric two three wheelers? Are they Indian brands or are they foreign imported brands?
They used to be foreign imported, but now we are seeing a trend that because of the government incentives which are pushing Indian manufacture to create in India, grow in India, there's a lot of policies in place which we can talk about if you guys want. But using these policies, people are now shifting to manufacturing in India, which is great. I'm very proud to say this. We are emerging as a global market manufacturer when it comes to batteries and OEMs. OEMs basically means original equipment manufacturer. We are not currently manufacturing automotives completely. We are not making Tesla. We don't want to do that. We are catering to what India needs. India needs more two-wheelers, which we have done quite innovative stuff in. There's companies like Aethers, there's companies like Ola, which are creating the next generation of two-wheelers in India. So I'm very proud to say that.
And Ola is it's a startup. It was founded by a young person, right? A young engineer. No links to any of the legacy companies, right?
So no, Ola started off as a ride hailing company. It basically started off as a competitor to Uber, and then they expanded in the market. I don't know if it's a vertical or horizontal expansion, but they expanded into the EV business as well. they had no prior experience of the EV, which is why what fascinates me the most. Like they had no experience in the EV business, but they still came and managed to do quite well at the EV business. And another competitor is Ather, which is also very good. So Ather used to only focus on making batteries. They also started as an OEM manufacturer, but then they realized there's so much potential in building a customer-centric brand, which can help in the EV adoption in the two-wheeler sector. So I would say two of the most competitive brands in India right now are Ola and Ather when it comes to two-wheelers, electric vehicles. Yeah.
But isn't it? The hero Honda.
Ather. Yeah, I don't know if you guys know about it, but there's because Hero Honda, they also want to be in the EV business. They also want to get into the two-wheelers segment because they used to be one of the market leaders when it came to two-wheelers in India. But with Ather, they are now back to control the EV market as well. And they are one of the they are one of the core investors in the Ather as well. So Ather is sort of their competitor, but they are also helping. They're also co-branding vehicles right now, so that's also quite interesting.
It's not the
Just move
first.
it. Okay, sorry,
Sorry?
Shari, go ahead, Shari.
I was just going to say it's quite interesting because it's not the first time we've seen that in the Indian market. I mean, I know it's a completely different sector, right? But India has this very well-known drink called Thumbs Up. They were a competitor to Coca-Cola. So what
Yeah.
Coca-Cola did was they let Thumbs Up grow for a bit, and then they acquired Thumbs Up. So it's quite a
Yeah.
interesting way that how they've copied a similar investment strategy. Isn't
Right, that's true. That's true. I think we have seen this before a lot of times. And these are key business trends which are not just normal to India, which is not just usual to India. I think we see this all over international brands as well, you know. So I think it's just mirroring business trends here.
Pre, I wanted to ask you, hypothetically, if money was no object, there was no limit to money, what EV car, an EV brand would you buy into? In terms of what would you want to drive in your daily life? What branded car would you want to drive? Is it the Teslas or is it the new ones, the BYDs, the other ones? And yeah, explain why.
I don't know how much you know about Xiaomi, but they are also coming up in the EV industry, and they have a lot of technology front approach, which basically means that they are in the factories, they're doing 3D printing, they're doing the digital twins, they're making sure that they use every technological component into manufacturing their vehicles. So I think if money was not a problem, I would want to start off with Xiaomi, but they're just starting out right now, so they would need some time to have their own market, to do their own thing, figure out their stuff. But Tesla has played in the market for a very long time. They know what they're doing, they know their stuff.
So,
So
so
it's a
do you
difficult
think
call.
do you think that so obviously you have Tesla, it's an American brand, very famous American brand, and then you have all these Chinese brands, the
Hmm.
competitors. Do you think China is overtaking the American brands with their superpower status, their financial status, but also their ability to innovate?
And
Yeah, I
sorry,
think
just to
so.
follow up on that. So we have seen a couple American producers have financial difficulties. And do you think China is the reason for that, or do you think they are not? They have some other difficulty, which means they're unable to replicate the success of the other brands.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with unit economics. So you have to consider whenever you're manufacturing something in Asia, is significantly the cost is significantly less than what you have in the US. So I think that's one of the very big reason why Asia is able to do what they are doing, which is produce high quality vehicles for cheap price. And America is just unable to carry on the trend because they don't have cheap labor, they don't have research facilities which can power away. So I'll tell you in terms of gigawatt factories, which basically means 1 gigawatt factory. Like Tesla has around 200 gigawatt factories in the US where they're manufacturing their vehicles, whereas the capacity of US is 500 gigawatt factories. Yeah, but China is operating at already at 600 megawatt factory, and their capacity is 1,000 or 1,200 gigawatt factories. So just in the size of sheer industry, I think China has more capabilities than US at the moment. and also because they're doing so much on the technology front, they're doing the best in the research and development. I think they have a key strategic advantage over US, but I don't know how well they will be able to capitalize. But Americans are very good at selling dreams, and which they have done for the very longest time. And Tesla wasn't meant to come. There was supposed to be the speculations were that hydrogen first, not electric first, but Tesla came and disrupted the market, and they have always been very good at doing that. So
Because at the moment, I know there's a growing trend for sort of looking at whether you have fixed batteries or you're swapping the batteries. These sort of technical improvements, which will obviously just make the make EV vehicles so much better in terms of quality and like consumer durability, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If you move from fixed batteries to swapping batteries or vice versa, it means that you don't have to keep replacing them. The quality of the batteries stay the same. You're the engineer, right? I'm correct in saying that, right?
yeah, that's true, that's true. But I think it's not either or, but I think both of them are going to coexist because battery swapping makes sense when there's shared mobility. What that means is, so for the purpose of our end listeners, I'm going to separate the word fleet and the word personal vehicle. Personal vehicle can be anything from a two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler, which you use for your personal commute or personal transportation. And fleet is everything that's not a personal vehicle. It could be logistics, like the way Amazon do it. They use vehicles to deliver products to your home. That's fleet. That's not a personal vehicle. So why am I saying this is fleets need battery swapping, and it makes more sense for battery swapping to be available in the fleets because they have high utilization fleets where downtime hurts earning. Say that you need 15 minutes to charge your vehicle, but that is a downtime when it comes to business terms. You don't want your vehicle to stay low for 15 minutes, but because that hurts your earnings. Yeah. So businesses which use fleets are gonna turn to battery swapping because that makes more sense there. But fixed batteries are so much more convenient for end users who have personal vehicles because they care about range predictability, they care about ownership, care about long-term usage. Yeah, so that wouldn't be swapping wouldn't make sense when it comes to personal vehicles. So that's my thought. I think they're
And do
gonna
you think
coexist.
and do you think the options are there? Do you think the likes of Tesla, BYD, Xiaomi are providing those solutions, or is it gonna take a bit more time to innovate towards that?
I think it's gonna take a more time to innovate, and it doesn't make sense for them to go to battery swapping right now because the if say tomorrow everyone switched to battery swapping, there would be a very huge problem of building infrastructure around it. So you need battery swapping stations in place. So you need a lot of infrastructure for that, and infrastructure you know how costly it is, and
Yeah,
it's not easy to build infrastructure in one day. So I think
exactly.
there's definitely it's a chicken and egg problem. You can make the chicken, you can make the egg, but you need both of them to coexist.
Yeah.
So
So I think we've spoken about so much really interesting things here. But just bringing to an end, I wanted to ask, your from your experience, what advice would you give to someone a bit younger than you? You're very young, but a bit younger than you, starting off in their sort of careers, trying to venture into like the EV ecosystem and wanting to get involved in that with career wise. Where should they
mhm.
start?
I think a lot of people are drawn towards the EV industry right now because it's the new hip thing to do, and there's a lot of investments flowing in it as well. So everyone wants to get rich real quick, but I don't think that's the mentality you would want to come with when you're trying to venture into the EV business. So I would say break down the problem into smaller segments so that you can chew upon it much better. What I mean to say is EV industry, first of all, it gets divided into two: personal vehicle and fleet. If you want to venture into the fleet, if you think you can do something substantial in terms of battery health management system, which is, you know, another very important thing I wanted to point out is from my internship while I was working, one of the key differentiators was that they are basically a battery manufacturer company, and it's not very difficult to manufacture batteries. It's a commoditized industry where energy comes in, you put it in a battery, you pack it, and you sell it. What differentiation you can do here is they did, and the company which I'm talking about, they did is make the batteries more accepting to the Indian environment. In India summers, the weather can get extreme as up to 50 degrees Celsius, and you need batteries which can withstand this adversity. So I think if you're really passionate about building something in the space, break down the problem into smaller segments, choose your niche, and try and come up with some technology or just some insights that you think. And there's also a lot of government incentives in place which will definitely help you if you're just a startup. So yeah, I would say break down your problem, see where you can work the most, which area excites you the most, and there's a lot of white areas as well. White areas means the areas which hasn't been explored. Like people are selling batteries, but you can see how you can recycle the lithium ions. The There's a lot of recycling that can take place there as well. So I would say yeah, there's a lot of space for you, but you need to choose your niche. And EV is exciting. It's very exciting. I love the space, but only come in here if you want to make a change and if you have some smart insights, or else it's a very disruptive environment. It's a very intensive in terms of capital. It's a very capital intensive place, so you wouldn't be able to survive if you don't have your key differentiator. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Preet. That was amazing, amazing. And obviously, people can reach out to you, but hopefully they'll reach out to us if they have questions. But that was super, super insightful. So thank you so much for that. Yeah, I think what we'll do, we'll reshare your LinkedIn accounts and things like that, so people can get in touch with you.
For sure, for sure.
And I'm sure they'll continue to be inspired by your absolute enthusiasm for the EV sector. So amazing. So Sharia,
Thank you for having me again.
That's okay. That's okay. I was just going to say, Sharia, what we got planned? We've got some exciting guests. Obviously, I say it all the time. We're not going to tell you who they are just yet, but keep on track on our socials. And then yeah, we've just got more and more exciting conversations, haven't we, coming up? Sharia?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I can't give everything away. You know, these are absolute secrets. These are top secret things. I can't be giving it away for free. But no, absolutely. Yeah. Look, if you want to learn about business, if you want to hear from all our different exciting guests, this is the place to be. So definitely do carry on. Keep listening to us. Do reach out to us if there's anything, if you have any pressing questions you want to ask us, or you want to ask any of our guests like Preet, reach out to us. Feel free. The email is always there in the description. But for now, Thank you for listening.
Cool. Thank you guys. Speak to you later.